free-floating anxiety coupled with anger, okay? And then an event happens. And that event can come from outside. It can be fabricated, it can be manufactured. But an event happens that causes people to focus on that event. And of course, we all know what this was in late 2019 and early 2020. It was this virus. And we had, and just to recap, there are folks in the UK government that have now acknowledged that they breached normal ethics by working for the government and intentionally using fear to modify public behavior. They intentionally weaponized fear to modify how people were thinking and how they were behaving. So the governments and the media, whether intentional or unintentional, spread these stories about this highly lethal virus that was going to kill us all, and we were going to have this mass mortality event. And you'll remember back then, because I know you're so active intellectually and you're focused on the world. I remember very clearly, as somebody who's a vaccinologist and has background in epidemiology and is very active on social media, there was a lot of people totally obsessing over what was going on here, what was going on in China. These pictures of Chinese dropping dead in the streets and all that kind of stuff, right? And it was constantly pushed at us in the media. What does that cause? Everybody becomes focused on this point. And when that happens, that is what's used. If you are susceptible to hypnosis, that is exactly what's done to trigger hypnosis, where you become blind to all other information. Your mind is just a feature of human minds. You become totally focused on a point, a single issue. When that happens, what can occur is that all these people that felt like they weren't connected to each other, suddenly they have a connection. They can form a group. That internal stress that they were having about all this free-floating anxiety, the world doesn't make sense, we're not connected to each other, suddenly they found a group. This is the group that is obsessed about the virus. It is the group that all agrees that this is a huge threat and we have to do something about it. Okay, that's the precursor. Now we have a leader come in. This leader can develop organically, which is what happened in World War II. It can come from outside, which is what happened with the Soviet Union and the Communist Party. Okay, just two examples. I'm not saying that we are all Nazis or any of that the press tries to put on us. Just giving historic examples. So the leader can come from organically, from within, or it can come from the outside and be imposed on a population. And they'll take control of this narrative. And they'll say, I have, one way or another, they say, I am your savior. I can solve this pain, this problem, this thing that you've all focused on. You've all become hypnotized by. I can fix this problem for you if you only do this. Now, in the case, I believe, in the current situation, what we had as that leader was Tony Fauci, as one example. Now, is Tony a straw man and the other people that are the puppeteers? I don't even go there. But let's imagine Tony as that leader, just for the sake of discussion. So, a leader within the United States government, which is the leader for health globally, said, we have the thing that will solve your pain. And by the way, actively excluded any other solutions, said, this new virus, this new vaccine technology will solve your problem. And so these folks that have become hypnotized, now they have a sense of group membership and they have a thing, a cause. And they become obsessive that cause, that thing that they're offered as the solution has to be implemented. It has to be implemented on everybody. Okay? It has to be enforced because that is what's going to save them. And they become hypnotized and believe that this is the solution. It is the only solution. It's the only solution they're allowed to think about because the press excludes all other solutions. The government excludes all other solutions. It actively blocks early therapy. It actively blocks all kinds of things, and it's constantly feeding this flame of saying, we're having this crisis, you're all going to die. I mean, remember, that's basically the messaging we were going to get, where your parents are, your children are, right? This is all of this is false, right? It's not backed by data, but you have a group that buys into this, and it's probably about 30% of the population.